What's going on, YouTube? This is Deshaun 2 Raw, host of the Bell to the Bush YouTube channel, and today we are back with some SEC 2026 futures bets. Now, I know I've been MIA, but college football season is right around the corner, and we are ramping this shit up. And we're going to be flooding it with content. I've been working behind the scenes with my boy at Marky Picks. We've been grinding out team previews for all power conference teams. So, whichever teams that we discuss at length, I will be posting their team preview in my description. Like I said, all those team previews are on my boy Mark's channel. Go check him out. It's at Marky Picks. Go give him a follow and a sub. But I'm not going to hold y'all for too longer. These are some of the SEC futures that I feel like are very, very good value plays and a dark horse college football playoff contendee. So let's get right into it. First up, we got the Texas Longhorns with an over on the win total of 9.5, over plus 118, under minus 144. So, the Vegas odds makers are leaning towards the under. Texas does have a very tough schedule. They have a tough non-con date with Ohio State, even though that's a night game in Austin. Still very, very tough. you know, it seems like odds makers are thinking that this is a 9-3 team, but I don't. Excuse me. I just don't. I think this Texas team is 101. I think this is the best team in the SEC. Um, I know they haven't had, I know they haven't had success winning it, because there's a team called Georgia in there, but I just feel like that Texas has the best team in there this year. I feel like it is their year. As you can see, I have them projected at 11-1, only losing one game. And on top of that, I think that's the final game of the season against Texas A&M. We'll get to them shortly, but yeah, I need them to get 10 wins. I got them getting 11. So, getting the over at plus 118, I think is really, really good value. So, getting an over on a team that has a very, very deep roster, very, very deep. They hit the portal hard, got a lot of great players in the portal, and then they got that boy Arch Manning in his second year. I think he's going to do wonders for this team, and I think he's going to be really, really better. Let's not forget, towards the end of the season, he started getting better and better and better. Now with a full off season and with expectations, I know they already had expectations, but even more expectations, especially this year. I think he's going to get him over the hump. So give me Texas on the over 9.5 wins at a good price at plus 118. 118, excuse me. Can't pass that up. Next one up, we go to their counterparts right down the road. Texas A&M Aggies. They have a win total of over 8.5 and get the over at plus 102. The under at minus 124. This A&M team, I think, is still really, really good. You're gonna see a trend right here. Like you're gonna see like all the top teams, like you're gonna want to go over on them because they've moved. The SEC has moved to a 9 conference game schedule this year. Some play 8, some play 9, and I just feel like that the top teams in the league are just gonna beat up on the mid to bottom tier team. They're just gonna beat up on them, and that's gonna cause them to get more wins on their schedule. So at 8.5, and this is the same team that it's not the same team because I know they lost some people to the draft, etc. But this team is still really, really good. Like this team was one game away from going undefeated. So, and then they had a disappointing loss in the first round of college football playoff to Miami. The offense was just non-existent. But they bring in a new offensive coordinator, Colin Klein. Their old offensive coordinator left. They go to Kansas State, the coach's alma mater. They were still really, really good on a Colin Klein. Now this year, with that plethora of receivers that Marcel Reed has and that running game, the offensive line should be good, and their secondary should be really good. Under Mike Elko, this team has been going in the right direction. He has revived this fan base in that team in literally 2 years. So to think that this team was going to go from 11 wins to 8 wins, that big of a drop off, I'm not buying it. And like I said, all I need them to do is get 9 wins. I got them projected at 10-2, so I got a little cushion right there. I'm on the over at plus 102. I think it's really, really good value on a great team, on one of the better quarterbacks in the conference. And I really think Texas A&M has a lot of very winnable games, especially on the road as well. And we already know what they do at Cal Field. That's one of the best home field environments in the nation. So I'm on the over on A&M. I'll take that plus money here as well. Next up, we got the Ole Miss Rebs. Another win total that's set at 8.5. Over plus 122, under minus 148. Odds makers are thinking that this is going to be, a down year for Ole Miss. They're thinking that the Lane Kiffin effect right here is going to take its toll. But I wouldn't go so far as to saying that, because Pete Golding, he came in once Lane Kiffin left to go take the LSU job. He came in and had the coach in the college football playoffs as the interim head coach. And look what he did. He got this team all the way to a semifinal. That's one of the toughest things to do, especially as an interim head coach, is coach your team through the playoff. And that's exactly what he did, and he excelled at it. Yes, I know, Lane Kiffin took a lot of guys with him. But this Ole Miss team is still very, very good, led by Kawan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss. I don't think this team is going to go anywhere. Like I said, when another one of these top tier teams in the league, I think that's going to benefit out of the non-conference game schedule in the SEC, and they're just going to beat up on some of these other teams. And getting the over at plus 122, I need them to win 9 games. I got them projected at 10-2. I got cushion right here as well. I will take that plus money right here. I think there's great value. This team is still really, really good. Like, odds may just think that these teams are going to have historic drop-offs. I just don't see it here. Yes, Pete Golding has to coach through a full season, but I just think that the players that he has around him having coached in the toughest, in a tough environments, in tough games and stuff like that, I think it's going to do wonders for him to be able to go through a full SEC gauntlet schedule. I think they'll be able to do it. So I'm on the over at plus 122 on the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, we're at LSU. Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss before the playoffs to take the LSU job. LSU been firing head coaches. They haven't been really good, but they have a win total set at 8.5. They're over at minus 140, under at minus 118. So they're also thinking that the Lane Kiffin effect is just not going to work here. I don't know what the hell they're smoking, because I think Lane Kiffin is absolutely going to work for this team, for this offense. He's an offensive mind, and he's a damn good one. He took the offensive coordinator from Ole Miss as well with him, brought in some of the talent from Ole Miss with him as well. Heavy hit the portal. So, the only reason why I could think that the odds makers would want to be betting majority the under would be, the portal additions not really gelling, and they're having a tough time getting everything in order. Now, like I said, this is another team that I think that could benefit from a non-conference game schedule. They have a very, very good home field advantage as well. Playing in Death Valley, you just don't want to do it. But they got one of the best portal quarterbacks in the nation, is Sam Levitt. Listen, I think LSU is going to be really, really good. I got them projected at 10-2 here. So another team that I got cushion, only need them to win 9 games. So I think getting the over at minus 104, almost even odds right here. I think you just cannot pass this up just off of the portal additions alone, and that revamped roster as a whole, led by Lane Kiffin. Listen, this is just purely betting on the upside right here, because the sky's the limit with this team. Even if they go 9-3, we still cash this over right here. So I'm putting my faith in Lane Kiffin and trusting the process right here. So give me the over at almost even money. I think it's really, really good value on a team that has a very, very high ceiling. Next up, we got the Oklahoma Sooners with a win total set at 7.5. Over minus 148, under plus 120. Now, this is another one with a win total right here at 7.5. Obviously, the odds makers think they're going to go over this. I'm with them. I'm absolutely with them. Yes, I know this is a little bit more expensive at minus 148, but I still think it's just a really, really good bet, especially if you want to put this in a parlay with maybe other win totals that you like. I think 7.5 is way too low. I'm really, really high on this Oklahoma team. I'm not saying that I'm high enough on them to win the SEC, but very, very high on them. Their defense last year was lights out. The problem that they had was their offense. Their offense was atrocious. Now, they brought in some receiver, another receiver or two. I think John Mateer is going to be a whole lot better. I think they're going to learn from their offensive mistakes from last year. I think this offense is going to be really, really good on top of a really, really good defense led by Brent Venables. I think the world of this Oklahoma team. I think they're gonna be really, really good. Yes, I know getting the under at plus 120 looks a little enticing, but can we really see this Oklahoma team only winning 7 games? I mean, going 7-5 for Oklahoma, I just cannot see it. I think 8-4 is definitely more likely. I got them projected at 9 wins. I got them going 9-3, so I got cushion right there. I only need them to win 8 games. I absolutely think they can do that, especially with a much more improved offense. Let's not forget, John Mateer was leading the Heisman race early in the season, excuse me, before he ended up before he injured his hand, and then we all know what happened. But yeah, I think, and this is also a team that was just in the college football playoff. Oklahoma had won a bunch of tough road games and stuff like that. I fully expect the same thing out of this Oklahoma team. Now, are they going to make the playoff? I'm not sure, but with a 9-3 and with that resume, they may be a team that could sneak into it as the first 3-loss regular season team to get in. But I'm not sure if I want to go that far. But what I am sure is that they will at least win 8 games. So give me the over at the minus 148. Yes, I know it's juiced, but I still think that this is a really, really good bet on a team that was in the college football playoff last year. Now only needed them to win 8 games. I think you just gotta do it. You just gotta play the over right here. And like I said, another team that could benefit from a 9 conference game schedule. Like I said, I think this Oklahoma team is gonna be better on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively, we already know what the hell is going on. So give me the over. Next one up, Auburn with a win total of 6.5. Over minus 115, under minus 105. Let me tell y'all why I'm on the over right here. Because I got them projected at 7 wins. Yes, I usually like to have at least a game cushion. Like if their win total is set at 8.5, I like to have them projected for at least 10 wins. So then I can have a game cushion. I'm not doing that here because I got something else for Auburn. I could very much see this season going left for Auburn. They have a tough schedule. And if you've seen the team preview that me and Mark put out for Auburn, me and him both are high on this team. This is a very, very, very much a sleeper team in the SEC. They can make some noise with Byron Brown, Alex Goles as head coach. This is USF 2.0. Let's not forget, quarterback play and offensive struggles really rendered this team last year. They were in a lot of games against a lot of good teams. They were in these games. If they had better offenses, this Auburn team could have been so much better. But their offense was putrid. Their defense was really good last season. Their defense kept them in games. They're bringing over that same defense. So you're telling me you're going to have in my opinion, a much better offense because at USF, and yes, I know the competition isn't up to par with the SEC, but USF still had a very, very potent offense. Byron Brown, versatile dual threat quarterback. He almost looks like damn near like a Cam Newton clone. I think that offense can't get much worse than what it was. It just can't. So yes, I know I got them projected at 7 wins. But this is a team, and like I said, if you watch the team preview, it's all about the month of October for this Auburn team. All about the month of October. That's where they have their 4 toughest games. 3 are on the road. You get 1 at home. You only really need Auburn to split. If they can go 2-2 in the month of October, cash it over with ease. Cash it over with ease if they can go 2-2 in October. It's all about October and splitting the games. That's all they got to do. and I'm banking on them to do that. That's why I'm going over. And like I said, getting it at minus 115, that's very, very affordable. For like I said, a team that I think can be a surprise, and a team that I think can be very, very sneaky to maybe make the playoff. Just saying. But like I said, it's all about the month of October for Auburn. But like I said, I think with a much better offense and a defense, like I said, that shined last season, absolutely shined. And you know, it's tough on the defense because if your offense is just that damn bad, or your defense having to keep coming on the field, on the field, on the field, they're gonna get tired. They're gonna eventually get worn down. Off the opposing offense is gonna end up figuring out what they're doing, and they're gonna get wore out. No, that defense kept them in a bunch of damn games, a bunch of tough games at that, on the road and at home. This team should have been way better than their record said last season, and I think you're going to get the reverse this year. They are going to be better, and this will be a good team. Now, like I said, I got them at 7-5. Take that with a grain of salt. That's just for the over, but I think they can do even bigger things if they split the games, go 2-2 in the month of October. So, with Auburn at a minus 115 price, that I think is very, very affordable, I am on the over, hoping on true upside of this offense and hoping that that defense can play at the same caliber that they were last season. Next up, we got the Florida Gators. Win total at 7.5. The over at plus 132 and the under at minus 162. Listen, this Florida team loses a whole lot. They're bringing in a transfer quarterback, Aaron Philo, who is projected to start for the Florida Gators. John Summerall from Tulane. I think he's a really, really good coach. I think it was a really, really good hire. This team, I know I hear a lot of people saying that this is a sneaky team that can maybe make the playoff if things go right and stuff like that. I'm just going to put my brakes here and just be like, you know, this is a deep, deep SEC conference. Very, very deep. Excuse me. And I just think that Florida's gonna struggle under John Summerall in their first year. I really, really do. And now, don't get me wrong, I think Florida will be in a lot of games. I just don't think they're going to be on the right side of those games. And yes, taking the under at minus 162, that's very, very juiced. I think this is another one where I got them projected at 4-8. I'm way, way under on this team. Now, could I very well see this going over? Absolutely. I'm just betting on, you know, this is John Summerall's first year, having a coach in the SEC. You know, Philo, I'm not really believing in that offense and stuff like that. Like, Florida just has to show me. And I think Florida going 8-4, I just don't think that that's likely. I think it's more likely that they go 6-6, maybe even 7-5, than to get the 8 wins. But like I said, I got them projected at 4, so I'm way under. Like I said, at minus 162, this is just another one where you can maybe put in a parlay, maybe a miracle parlay, but just another filler right here. So I'm way under on the Florida Gators. Next up, we got the Kentucky Wildcats. They also got an over on the win total of 4.5. Over minus 142, under plus 116. Yeah, I'm on the under right here. Will Stein. Y'all already know how I feel about Will Stein. I'm a big Oregon Ducks fan. He was our offensive coordinator last season. Did really, really good things for us in the years that he was with us under Dan Lanning. But like I said, when you have good offensive coordinators and good defensive coordinators, they're going to get looked at, and that, you know, they're going to interview for head coaching jobs. And this is one he interviewed for, and this is one that he got. Very, very happy for him. I think he's absolutely going to do wonders for this Kentucky offense. But I just think that he's going to struggle in his first year. This is just a pure value play right here. Pure value. And I'm gonna try and pull up their schedule here. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. So they start the season out, and I'm gonna do this for the rest of the teams. I just feel like the rest of the teams were a lot easier. But this is just a pure value play. You know, to open up the season with Youngstown State, that should be a win. That's one. Now, the second game of the season, they host Bama. I really, really like this spot for Kentucky. I could even potentially see an upset here in week 2. Getting Alabama early is where you want them, especially going through a quarterback controversy. This team last year really couldn't run the ball. I don't really know if they're going to be able to run the ball this year. You know, is the quarterback going to pan out? Who knows? What about Ryan Williams? Is he going to be back and go back to his old self? Who knows? Who else is he throwing the ball to other than him? You just don't know. But what we do know is that Alabama defense is going to be really, really good. But I just think it's a really, really good spot to catch Bama, especially in week 2 on the road in a tough environment. I think the Kentucky team will improve. But I do still think that Kentucky ultimately loses that game. Then they go to A&M. That should be a loss. They get South Alabama. That should be a win. They're at South Carolina. I hate that. I think that's a loss. They get LSU. I think LSU is going to be really, really good. I think that's a loss. At Oklahoma, that's a loss. You get Vandy at home. That could potentially be a win right there. Then you're at Tennessee. That's probably a loss. You're home against Florida. I think you win that game as well. And then you're at Missouri. I'm higher on Missouri than a lot of other people, especially my boy Mark. Very, very high on Missouri. I think that team's being slept on massively. But that team's gonna be good. I think that's a loss. And then playing Louisville, I'm high on Louisville as well, so I think that's a loss as well. So it's all about that Alabama game. If Kentucky upsets Alabama in week 2, they're gonna be 2-0. They're gonna go over. But hoping that they don't, like I said, I probably will be betting Kentucky to win the game. I know it's contradicting, but I really, really love the spot for them. But getting the under at plus 116 with a first-year head coach, like I said, it's just pure value here. I got them projected at 4 wins at 4-8, so it's literally like a game. That's it. And this is another one, like I said, that I usually don't do. I usually like to have a game cushion. But like I said, this is just one that's off a straight value. So I'm on the under at plus 116. I just felt like this is just something that I just could not pass up. Their schedule is pretty tough as well. Could I see them going over? Yes. But at a plus 116 price with this Kentucky team, I think it's really, really good value. So I will be betting the under. Next up, Woo Pig. We got the Arkansas Razorbacks with a win total of 4.5. The over at plus 136. The under at minus 168. Listen, guys. Excuse me, and this ain't going to take long. This Arkansas team is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I really don't see how many. I really don't see how many wins they can get. They open up with North Alabama. That should be a win. Then they have a tough non-con game at Utah. That's a loss. You host Georgia. That's a loss. You host Tulsa. That's a win. You're at 2. You're at Kyle Field. That's a loss. You host Tennessee. That's a loss. You're at Vandy. I think that's a loss. You host Missouri. I think that's a loss. You're at Auburn. I think that's a loss. You host South Carolina. I think that could be a win. And then you're on the road against Texas and you host LSU. So you play Texas, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, A&M, Georgia, Utah. 7 out of your 12 games are all against ranked opponents in a preseason AP poll. 7 of them. Especially with an Arkansas team that's going through a lot. And having hired Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, I don't know if things are going to go his way right here. So I'm on the under. I don't think this team is going to be any good. Not saying that he's a bad coach or anything. I just think, like I said, you're just going to get beat up on by all these other teams. Yes, I know the under is heavily juiced. Another filler, another parlay piece. I got them projected at 3-9. So pretty much I need him to not get the 5 wins. I have that cushion right there. I thought it was a good play. This is a filler for me. So I'm going to take the under at the minus 168. Now, another bottom feeder team. We're on to the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Over on a win total of 4.5. You get the over at minus 124. The under at plus 102. Listen, another team I'm on the under. Mississippi State is just going to have to show me, man. They're just going to have to show me. Now, could this team get the 5 wins? Sure. Vegas obviously thinks so. This is another pure value play. I'm just thinking that this is going to be one of them teams that's going to be one of the bottom feeders. They're just going to get beat up every week. I'm not saying that they're going to get blown out every week, but I just think that there's just teams that are just head and shoulders better than them. They open up the season against UL Monroe. That's a win. That's a one. Tough non-con game at Minnesota. I think that's a loss. Then you're at South Carolina. That could be a loss. You host Missouri. That's a night game. That could be very, very tough in Missouri, but I think they're the better team. You host Alabama. I mean, that's a loss. You go to Death Valley. That's a loss. You host Oklahoma. That's a loss. You're at Texas. That's a loss. You host Vandy. That could be a win. You host Auburn. I'm high on Auburn. I think that's a loss. You play Tennessee Tech. That's a win. And then you go to Oxford to face Ole Miss. Another one of these teams with a tough ass schedule. And you're gonna give me the under at plus 102. I just think, like I said, pure value, and I have a game in hand right here in terms of my projections. I gotta take it. So at the plus 102 price, I'm all over the under. Now, for your conference runner up, it's gonna be the Ole Miss Rebels. It is gonna be the Ole Miss Rebels. Their championship odds you can get at plus 1,000, implied probability of 9%. The best price you can get, and this is to win the conference, to win the SEC championship. You can get at plus 1,000. The best price I was able to find was at plus 1,567. Very, very good odds right there on a 50-50 game. My confidence, I gave it a 2 out of 5. Because, like I said, the team that they're facing, and which, as you can know, is going to be Texas. I just think that they're the better team. I just don't think there's going to be a whole lot of drop off for Ole Miss this season. So, why can they win the SEC? Just going from their momentum from last year, just feeding off of it. They beat Georgia in the playoff. They can do it again. They can do it again. They have the talent, having an elite offense. Yes, I know majority of that was under Lane Kiffin, but I still think this offense is going to be really, really good. Let's not forget about that. Now, some of their risk factors. They can have some defensive struggles. I know Pete Golding coaches that side of the ball, but they could have some defensive struggles, and on top of that, coaching. They're going to go hand in hand for me. Was that just a one-trick pony last year with Pete Golding? And then he just stinks the place up when he has to coach throughout the regular season. Who knows? Now, some of their key conference games. LSU at home. You're at Florida. You're at Texas. You get Georgia at home. And you're at Oklahoma. Like I said, they have a bunch of tough games. But I think this Ole Miss team, building from the momentum from last year, I think they can make the SEC championship game. So, they are my runner-up, but really, really good value on them. Really, really good value. So, if you like Ole Miss to win, these are the numbers that I found. You maybe be able to get better numbers as of now, but I think it's really, really good value if you're that high, or if you're an Ole Miss fan, why not? Now your conference champion, the Texas Longhorns. To win the SEC championship, you can get it at plus 300. Implied probability of 25%. That is very, very high. The best price you can get plus 376. My confidence is 4 out of 5. It's not straight 5 because, like I said, I'm just giving a little bit of respect to Ole Miss. That's why. But I think it is a 4. I think they are one of one in the SEC. Why can they win it? They have a complete roster. Top to bottom. Defense, damn good. Defensive line, damn good. Offensive line is good. Quarterback's good. Running backs are really good. Receivers, really damn good. Coaching, pretty good. So, And like I said, you're gonna also be building from Arch Manning having success late in the season last year. I think the sky's the limit for this Texas team. I think they will win the SEC. So all these prices you see right here, really, really good. Might want to go ahead and get that in. Now, some risk factors. Bad quarterback play. Arch Manning, maybe that was a fluke. He reverts back to his early season struggles and stuff like that. Maybe he isn't fit for the job. Maybe there's just too much pressure on him. Maybe he's just not ready yet to take that next step. And then bad coaching. Um, I mean, just horrific coaching, not knowing what to do in close games, getting out coached when you shouldn't, etc. Now, some of their key conference games. Oklahoma, I was about to say at home, in a neutral site in the Red River Showdown. You get Ole Miss at home. You're at Death Valley and you're at A&M. Think it's pretty manageable. And now, like I said, I know I didn't put Ohio State in there because it's the key conference games. Come on, lock in. And obviously, my prediction is I got them being the conference champion. So, if you're liking this, look at their odds and stuff like that. If you're big on Texas, I think it's really, really good value. Put however much money on it, but bet responsibly. But I think getting them at a plus 376 to win the SEC, really, really good value when I think that they're the best team in there and they have the most complete roster with not really too many blenders, if any. Now, I know during the Auburn preview, in their future, I said, listen, this team could be a sneaky team to maybe make the playoff. Yes, they can. Auburn to make the college football playoff and get a plus 900. To miss the college football playoff, obviously, is juice minus 1799, 1799. Confidence is a three-star conference. Conference. Oh gosh, 3-star confidence. Excuse me, I can't speak today. And my projection in terms of them making the playoff would be them going 10-2. Like I said, it's all about the month of October for this Auburn team. Now, if I can pull up their schedule really fast, let's go to Auburn. They could easily win their first 4 games. Easily can win them. And honestly, they're going to be favored in their first 4 games, in all of them, because they host all of them, except for the first game into the neutral site. But they get Baylor in their first game of the season. I think Auburn wins that game. Then they host Southern Miss. That's another win. That's 2-0. They host Florida. I think that's another win. They're at home. That's 3-0. They host Vandy at home. I think that's another win. That's 4-0. Then you get to the month of October, where your 4 games are at Tennessee, at Georgia, you host LSU, and you're at Ole Miss. You need to go 2-2 in this stretch. I think the most likely 2-2 in this is you beat Tennessee on the road, go to 5-0. You lose in Athens, you go 5-1. You beat LSU in your only home game in that 4-game stretch. You win your only home game, and then you lose to Ole Miss on the road. So you go 5-0, 5-1, 6-1. You're 6-2 after that Ole Miss game. Then look at this. You host Arkansas, 7-2. Then you're at Mississippi State. You should win that game. You're 8-2. Then you get Samford at home. You get Samford. That's 9-2. And then for your last game, it's the Iron Bowl. It's the Iron Bowl, in which I think can be 50-50. So this is definitely something that I'm going to bet right here. Just betting on the offense being good under Alex Golesh and Byron Brown. Listen, I think this is a very, very sneaky team to win 10 games. Very, very sneaky. And at plus 900, all I need for them to do is go 2-2 in the month of October and win the Iron Bowl. I think it's very, very doable for this team. And like I said, with a strong start and hosting, your first 2 conference games, and then getting Southern Miss and Stanford, and then getting Baylor on a neutral site, I think you can win all of those games. And then, like I said, Tennessee, who knows about Tennessee? You can win that game. And then winning your only home game against LSU. And then you get Arkansas and Mississippi State, the two teams that I got at the bottom of the SEC. I think it's really, really good value. So if you want to take a stab at a long shot to make the college football playoff, look at Auburn. I'm telling you, if they split in the month of October and go 2-2, and they're sitting at 6-2, heading into that Arkansas game, and then Mississippi State, and then Samford, you better watch out because it could come down to that Iron Bowl for Auburn to make the college football playoff. Now, we got to get to some Heisman odds. Got to go Arch Manning. Heisman odds sitting at plus 750. Junior confidence 4-star. I think he's going to have a masterful season. His projected stats for the season: 4,050 passing yards, 37 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 520 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 47 total touchdowns. There you go. That's the epitome of a Heisman season right there. Big games: Ohio State, at LSU, at A&M, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. You have the resume on top of that, beating some of the big teams in the nation. And probably, like I said, another college football playoff berth. Like I said, I think the sky's the limit for Arch Manning. I really do think he's going to take the next step. He's either going to be the one or two pick in the draft next year, and he's going to be 2 because Dante Moore's going number 1. We all know why. Sko Ducks. I don't know if y'all can see it, but Sko Ducks. But yeah, I think, like I said, there's another one that's just pure value. Just betting on the upside. Because, like I said, I think their offense is going to be pretty good. I think Arch Manning, like I said, building off of the momentum that he had late in the season where he started playing lights out football, was one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC and in the country. Starting that off on a high note, just continuing where he left off. I think his Heisman odds at plus 750, definitely worth a look at. So that's going to wrap it up for the SEC futures. Like I said, I'm going to leave the following team previews in the description. Go check them out if you want a more in-depth game-by-game prediction and breakdown. I will leave those in my descriptions. Make sure you like, subscribe, share these videos. It really helps with my algorithm. And I'm going to do this for starting off with the SEC right now. This one's done. We're going to also do the ACC. We're going to do the Big 12. And we're going to do the Big 10. So look out for those videos. Like I said, I know I've been MIA, but I'm back now. College football season is right around the corner. It's going to be in full swing. So thank y'all so much. And without further ado, this has been Deshaun Too Raw, host of About to Play YouTube channel, and I'm out of here.